Hi, everybody. It's Marcy here from wavesofcommunication.com. Welcome to this week's Wave of the Week segment, where I am going to be talking about training versus teaching, what parents need to know. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how both training and teaching help children learn new skills. And I'm going to be moving into talking about the differences between training and teaching. And then I'm going to talk to you about how training and teaching as teaching methods help children's learning moving forward once you implement these things. So in case this is the first time you've seen one of my videos, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Marcy Melzer, and I am an intuitive speech and language pathologist consultant, and I help parents teach their late talking children how to use natural verbal speech to share all their wisdom with the world. And I do that in my Waves of Communication parent coaching programs. Okay, so in this video, we're talking about training versus teaching. And it seems like a lot of times these words may get used interchangeably, but it truly is, there are differences in the methods based on their design and how they teach children to learn new skills. Because both of these methods teach new skills, and both of these methods are used with all intelligent mammals. So anytime anyone is training animals, I have my otter shirt on today because it reminded me of the same kind of methods. Both teaching and training are used with all intelligent mammals, from the otters to at the aquarium, to your dog, to the children that your children. And teachers use these methods and parents use these methods. And I just kind of wanted to make sure that you understood the difference between them, so that moving forward you can understand better the kinds of methods that you're using with your kids. Okay, so like I said, both teaching and training help children learn new skills. And they both do this by teaching the child things that in order to learn, sorry, I got distracted there for a second. In order to learn, children need to try at new things, right? In order to learn anything, they have to give it a try if it's something they've never done before. And if it is a challenging thing, then they definitely need to try at it, because it's not something that they're already good at. So if you're trying to teach your child to learn something significant, right, that they haven't done, something completely new, it's always challenging if it's brand new, right? So what you need to do is, first, the science behind teaching challenging skills says that children have to experience 80% success at trying in order to keep them trying, right? In order to teach a child a new skill, you have to keep them trying at it. No matter what new skill you're teaching, training, whatever, you have to have your child try. And in order to keep a child trying, neuroscience has proven over and over and over in repeated studies that it takes 80% success rate for a child to be successful at a task. 80%. They don't have to be 100% success, but 80%. So that's a lot. They have to be really good at it. So both teaching and training methods, in order to get kids to this 80% success rate, must make the tasks that they're giving the kids to try both very easy and to have some big reward for doing it, because this is how you train the nonverbal animals in your life, and this is how you train the nonverbal children in your life, and how to talk, because they're all intelligent mammals, and we're both using teaching and training, but you have to get a child to keep trying at talking in order for them to learn to use natural speech. So this is where things get different. Both teaching and training have to have kids try 80% accuracy and easy task and big reward. So training does this and this is where they start to differ. Training is controlled by the trainer. So the environment, the situation, everything is controlled by the trainer. And in this case, the trainer will provide an activity, a challenge, the skill that we want the child to try at, that's so easy that the child can do it. So if it's just reach or stretch or whatever, the easiest thing that the child can do on their own right now, a trainer is going to only expect that. And then they're only going to get like that, something that the child can already do right now, 80%, so that the trainer gets them used to the reward part. Because what the trainer teaches the child to do is to work and try at that task. And if they keep trying, even though it's challenging, they'll always get the reward every time they do it. So they have to give, because they only reward, that's the other difference, that they only reward it when it's actually perfect, when it's done. So they have to expect something so easy that the child's already doing it. That's how they get them going. Where in teaching or an education method, that's going to be the child is the driver of the education. The educator presents presents the information, just like the trainer. Okay, both of them are going to demo what they want the child to do, but the trainer is going to give the child something to do that they already know how to do, so that they can already be 80% successful, to get them even started to be interested in the training and reward it. So they're going to give them something new that they know the child has skills for, that they can do at least 80% of the time, and they're going to work with them to get to that skill till they get to 100%. And then they're going to move to the next more challenging skill, because the child will have mastered that one, and then they're going to tweak it, and it gets a little bit harder, a little bit harder. The education side is going to present the child with information and the demonstration, just like the trainer, only it might be something that the child's never heard before, never seen before. It might not be something that the child already knows. It might be brand new information, okay? But what the educator is going to do then, before they test it, is they're going to give the child the opportunity to practice and experiment with that information. So they're going to provide the information as an educator, as a teacher, and then the child's going to process that information by practicing and integrating and doing all of that stuff. And then the teacher's going to review the information again, and they might practice with the child and let the child have some independent practice, whatever, right? They're going to teach the method and let the child explore it. And then they're going to test it, and then they're going to reward the test. So they're going to say, oh, you worked really hard at this, but you did it, and you were, not at this, whatever. So it doesn't require the child to be 80% accurate during the practice. It just requires them to be 80% accurate during the test. So an educator is going to take time between the demonstration of what it is and the thing. And the reward, right? So the child has to do it, practice it, and then they're going to review it and test it first. But a trainer is going to offer a child an easy activity, and then it's up to the child to rise to the occasion. Because it's going to be, the trainer is going to present them with something that they can always do 80%. So if you think about your own self and you're going to learn a new thing like knitting, okay? If you never knitted before, but you were like going to learn how to knit, and you were knitting from a trainer versus an educator, okay? I'm just giving a completely different example of a completely new skill that a lot of people don't know how to do. And those who do know how to knit know how it's a process to learn. It's a process to learn everything, playing the piano, anything. So we're just going to talk about knitting here, trainer versus educator. A trainer is going to say, give you the tools you need, model it for you, and say, do it. And then once you try, if it's they're going to give you something so easy to do, wrap the yarn around it. And you easily can do that, maybe even 100%. And every time you wrap the yarn around it, they're going to go, great, you did it. And then do it again, do it again, do it again, wrap it, okay, and every time you do it, they're going to go, yay, you did it, yay, perfect, excellent, right on, that's the right, excellent. Okay, now you're going to do the next skill, and you're going to go here. And the trainer will take the person skill by skill by skill by skill by skill. An educator is going to teach a person to knit, to say, here is how you do it. Here's your tools, here's your whatever, model it this way, give it a try. They're going to give it a try. Ooh, wait a minute, that was perfect, but this time try this and this and this. Like do it 3 times in a row and see, let me check. Okay, we're perfect, excellent. They're going to coax them through. They're going to teach them through the whole thing. Wrap it around and perfect. And if ever in that 20% they're wrong, they're still going to give reinforcement for the try. Ooh, that was good, but not quite perfect. Where a trainer is only going to reward the ones that you do. So let's say you are 80% accurate getting the needle around the thing and through the hole, right? That first task, you're clumsy a little bit with it and you're only about 80% accurate. Those 2 times that you don't do it, the trainer's going to be quiet. And you're going to go, ooh, and you're going to struggle yourself. You're going to, ooh, and try to figure it out on your own, right? But the educator is going to go, no, it's this way. Try it around this way. Ooh, here's what you're doing wrong. Here's what you need to fix. Here's the things that you're going along. But a trainer is going to just reinforce the best thing if they're using positive reinforcement. Now, if they're using negative reinforcement, they're going to say something like, no, that's wrong. You did it wrong. And nobody teaches like that. Nobody teaches kids like that. They understand that that's what negative reinforcement is, but it is reinforcement and it's part of training. And I'll be honest with you, that lack of education and positive reinforcement for the try is negative reinforcement, especially for kids, because every single time they try something, you need to reinforce the try, because trying something hard doesn't come naturally to kids. Adults who choose to do things like learn to knit, they work hard through challenges, but little children don't. And animals don't. You know, any animal or anybody you're trying to teach a brand new skill, that's not their need, right? They have to teach the animals at the aquarium skills for their medical care. They have to teach them how to get blood draws. They have to teach them how to stay in one place. Otters, they have to teach otters to stay in one place, which is challenging for otters because they move around all the time. And so trainers, you know, ABA trainers train children to stay still. It's like training otters to stay still. But here's the thing, okay? So like I said, what's different between the training and the teaching is not just that the trainer sets up the situation and that the educator, you know, does those more things, and the reinforcer, they reinforce the try, the educator, versus reinforce the reward, the success. Right? It's not all about getting it done. It's all about learning it, right? So the educator wants to reinforce the learning. The trainer reinforces the success. That's the difference. So when you're talking about the difference between 2 behavior intervention programs, you can talk about training versus teaching, where a training method would be an ABA method, where it is completely set up by the practitioner, by the trainer, the environment set so that it can be completely data controlled, data driven. So you understand what kind of percentage. That's how you get your 80%. How do you know your child's at an 80% success rate? And if you, as a trainer doing ABA, give a child a skill that's too hard, it's on you as the trainer to make that skill easier for the child, or more reinforcing. So remember, there's 2 things that it takes for kids to learn and keep that 80% trying at challenging things. It has to be rewarding and it has to be easy. Okay? So easy enough, 80% easy, right? So you get them doing it, and then what happens is, as a trainer, you get them dependent on you to teach them the next skill. So this is how it affects moving forward, okay? There's one more thing, though, I wanted to say about rewards with education versus training, okay? With the reward for training is always decided on before the training starts, okay? So you know what you're working for, right? If you're going to work for a challenging thing, then you do it. That, in essence, is a bribe, right? You don't get this thing because you know it's only rewarded for the success. So it's a super important thing that you love, and you don't get it unless you perform the skill, okay? And that's how training is rewarded, positively reinforced. You get the reward when you perform the skill as directed. With education, the reward is intrinsic because you are celebrating the tries and you're always celebrating the successes at the same time. So you're teaching your child how it feels good to try and it feels good to succeed. When you're training, when you're educating, you're training a child to feel good to try and good to succeed. When you're training a child to feel good to succeed. And your child only feels good, they get the good reward when they succeed. In education, the child gets the good the whole way through. So if you think about your best teacher ever, they made learning the most fun. So that you, by yourself, while you're training and experimenting, and you find your own success as you try it out with help, then you feel the success. And this is the difference in the reward. They're both just as positive, right? They're both just as positive. I get this thing I want for training, or I get this feeling I want for education. They're both positively reinforcing and both very strong, because nothing feels better than accomplishing a task that you have tried hard and learned. And this is how children feel when you teach them versus when you train them. Because when you train them, they feel expectant on you. They become expectant on you because you are the one to teach them the next skill. They're like, okay, I'm good at this thing now that you've taught me. What's the next skill? And then you as the trainer, because the trainer controls the situation, the trainer presents the new skill. And the child is enabled to wait for the trainer to give them the next skill. And when kids are trained to talk, they wait for the trainer to prompt them and set up the situation and give them the next skill to say. They don't have the opportunity to learn because with training, it goes demo, wait, response. You know, as the trainer, I demoed it for you. I've directed you to do it. I wait for your response, and I either reward it positively or I wait for your response patiently. I don't tell you no. I just say I only reward when you do it. So this is what happens in the future, okay? Children who are trained get dependent on the trainer. So they don't learn how, because through the whole process of training, so maybe you've trained skill on top of skill on top of skill on top of skill. That's how training goes. It's scaffolding, they call it. You build it on top of each other, one skill on top of another. And with education, you do the same. However, the skills come from the bottom up, from the child, because when you want to learn something, you want to learn something more about it because you feel empowered to want to learn more. And your educator sees you doing your own, experimenting and practice. And this is what education provides that training does not. Okay? So, moving forward, as you're teaching your child anything, including talking, you'll want to be using potentially a combination, right? Because both training and teaching do help children learn new skills. So how do they do it with the otters at the aquarium? They combine it. They have to train the otters. The otters are dependent on humans. Animals are dependent on humans. They don't have that ability to be growing up to be independent humans, like parents teach kids to do. So animals have to be always in human care. The animals who are in human care have to use this training to teach them the skills they need and keep them happy and keep them rewarded and all of that. But in order to make their lives rich, in order to make their lives feel important outside of just doing these skills so that they can get blood draws and weighed and stay in one place so they can get examined, they also have to have happy lives. So the people at the aquarium, the biologists that work with the animals, they provide them with what they call enrichment learning opportunities. Okay, it's not just enrichment for just, you know, a lollipop. That's the food. I mean, they give them extra food, but they have to provide them with enrichment learning. so that they have that intrinsic happy feeling of, oh, I figured it out. Oh, I learned something. And they do that by putting different smells all over in their enclosure, different foods, different objects for them to explore, and they hide them. And every day they change it up. They have new grasses and mud and different ice, different stuff they put in there all the time that's not part of their training. It's just stuff for them to explore and learn and practice with. So as far as teaching your child to talk, you must provide them with these opportunities to practice and learn for them to feel good about their everyday existence and not just be trained through life. So it's the difference between the otters at Moat Aquarium, where I volunteer, who have amazing happy lives because they have all of this enrichment in addition to their training, so they know the skills they need to get the care they need and exist in their environment happily, but they also get the training they need, the teaching, the education opportunities like a teacher does. Instead of just controlling the environment like a trainer, an educator enriches the environment, provides opportunities for learning, like the otters, where they're, digging around their enclosure, learning things like that. So that's what I wanted to tell you today about teaching and learning. And it's important for you with your child to maybe use a combination for these with speech therapy or your speech intervention that you're doing with your child at home. Language facilitation, you're going to be providing them with opportunities to learn new words. You're going to be showing them these are the words for the things that we do every day, all day, while we're doing them. As you're teaching your child, you're demoing, you're giving them a chance to practice and explore those words because you have fun with them, and then your child learns them intrinsically. You don't have to test it because they're happy that they're talking. They're able to share their ideas. You're teaching them a valuable skill that they need. They just don't understand that they need it because they've used something else. So helping them shift over and try at talking, you have to keep it 80% successful. So you always have to keep it easy, right? And you have to keep it rewarding and fun. So providing these opportunities of time with you to explore and learn together. This is what's rewarding about language facilitation, not the Cheetos or the toy or the whatever that you get for talking. That's not what it's about. It's about the idea of learning to share what you know with other humans, intelligent humans, and your parents, the people you love the most. That's what language facilitation is about. Training methods to teach kids to talk, remember, will be parent or therapist directed, and the child will be told to say words that the trainer is teaching them to say, and then they're rewarded when they say the words. And the child then is enabled to wait for the trainer to say the next word for them to say. They don't have the experience of practicing and learning and exploring with words when you do training. So this is why you can train your child to say words, and they will. You can. But it's not teaching language unless you also offer them opportunities to play with learning too. Okay, so like I said, both of these things, that's why all the teach your kid to talk tricks that people see, you read in books, read more, talk more, model words, put things out of all those things to make your kids say words. Those are training techniques. Okay, so now that you know the difference between who's directing this learning, are you following your child's lead to see? So ABA is going to be like the training method. Floor time, or DIR or DRI, or some of the other RDI, some of the more child-centered learning behavior programs are going to be more like education, where you're going to model the appropriate behavior that you expect from your child. To show them what it is, you're going to make the situation so easy that they can be 80% successful because you help them get through it. You help them become 80% successful, not 80% on their own, 80% with your help. And that's how you show them how to learn and push through to get to the 100% and the extra time. Okay, so that's the difference between training your child behavior with an education model versus a training model. A training model is going to show your child what behavior you expect of them and reward them when they do it, whatever the behavior is. If it's sit still, if it's move, if it's do this, if it's do this, that's what you're teaching, that's what your child will learn. And only that, because skills training teaches skills. So just take a lesson from the aquarists at the aquarium who work with animals. All intelligent mammals learn this way. They both learn from training and education. And what you as parents need to understand is that the outcomes from your teaching method carry on into the future, because you want to enable your child to be, you want to empower them. You don't want to enable them to need you. You want to empower them to not need you, because children aren't like animals in human care. They can do things for themselves. And as parents, your job is to get them to be more independent, right? And out on their own. So that's what I wanted to share with you today about training versus teaching. I appreciate your attention for this video. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments here, and I can come back and answer them later after the video. And if you are interested in working with me, you can always check out my new programs. I have a brand new online program for parents. You can, right now until June 1st, it's only $450, and it comes with a super great bonus. You can learn about that on my website, as well as my face-to-face coaching programs for parents of late talking children. So that's how you learn more at my website, wavesofcommunication.com. My name is Marcy Melzer. Thank you again for joining me today, and I will see you all in my next video.